Welcome to Chicago. I'm Chris Berman, and this is our ongoing coverage of the NFL Draft. Today, we look forward to the final round. First up, tight end Paul Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst has elite straight-line speed, but can't cut through the trash. This one-trick pony will get lit up faster than a Dave Matthews fan at Bonnaroo. Next up, quarterback Andrew Perloff. Scouts will tell you he looks down the gun barrel in the phone booth, but despite a high Wonderlic score, he has no football IQ. Next up in the backfield, Patrick Eaton O'Connor. He's a happy-footed jitterbug runner with breakaway speed, but has more raw talent intangibles than sure-thing measurables. And finally, at center, the big man Todd Joseph Fritz. This circus elephant looks more like Tarzan, but plays more like Jane. Todd is a tight in the hips waist bender with only functional speed. Now hold on to your horses. This is going to be a wild one. Right now, we send you out to our draft correspondent, Brock Everett, joined by the Danettes and the possible draftees. On the box score, starts.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. The NFL draft is just days away, and that means the conversation is heating up in the man cave on who's going to be number one. So I go to you, McLovin, man of all NFL knowledge. Who is going to be in that first spot?
You're asking me right now. You're putting me on the spot. I wasn't prepared for this, but I'm going to say Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston, or possibly Dartmouth wideout Paul Goldberg, who people are not talking about.
Paulie Goldberg.
Yeah. No, I like Jameis. I like Jameis.
Didn't think he'd get all the way up to one.
Goldberg, a lot of upside with that guy. Well, the draft talk certainly had some interest going in the back row, because if you check this out, McLovin is listening to Dan and has the super active listen face going. There was some serious head bob
Super
action.
active.
Now, Fritzy, you're the king of the listen face, but yours is more stationary and static. Should you go from more of an anaerobic listen face to a more aerobic and sort of burn those calories?
There you go.
That's interesting, especially, trying to drop a few more pounds. It might be helpful to do something a little more cardio, move around, bob the head a little bit, which McLovin seems to have nailed to perfection.
You're a little bit too much like that famous statue, the thinker, you know? I'm more like preach to the choir, Dan. That's what I say in my head. Preach it, Dan. Preach it.
McLovin gets more physical reaction, positive reaction to Dan. And Fritzy is more stationary, unmoving, just enough eyebrow to make it think that he's thinking about what's being said.
Yeah, a bit of a Greek philosopher thing.
I don't know, though. I'm going to side more with Fritzy on this, because Fritzy seems more genuine. If you've ever been in, like, a meeting, okay, there's always that one really obnoxious guy when the boss is talking who's going, yep, that's right, yeah, that's right, yep. And it's like, dude, you're a brown nose, and stop. Yeah. That's what Andrew's got, the brown nose down.
I am not going to argue you on that.
Yep, you're right.
Yes. But that's just because you know me, though. If you're watching on TV, you might not know that.
Well, we mix it up between the two of us. It looks like we're paying attention between some thinking and some
No. We're not. It doesn't look like we're both phases. The second I see a listen face on you, I'm too intent on watching your face, and I completely tune out on Dan.
It's got to be a hybrid.
Fritzy had a long day yesterday because he had 3 hours of listen face on the Dan Patrick show, then another at least hour and 20 at this big corporate meeting that we had yesterday, where he was pretending to pay attention to what was being said.
There was a lot of pain on the
There was a lot of listening happening. Not a lot of talking, but a lot of listening.
No, didn't speak.
Well, if I could steer it back from listen face back to football, Paulie, would you rather see Mariota or Winston in a Bears uniform, or do you want to keep Jay Cutler around?
I honestly would say none of the above. I think Winston, it will be a bust. I think Mariota is going to be average, and I think I would probably stick with Jay Cutler because he's like a B-.
Dude.
Maybe Winston because there's some upside, but
I asked you that this morning. I said, would you rather have Winston or Cutler? And you said Winston.
Because I guess there's a possibility of greatness. I don't think there's any possibility of greatness with Cutler. I don't think there's any possibility of greatness with Mariota.
There might be.
Paulie, do I get hit by linebackers and do 5 good seconds? You are taking my against the grain right now.
Am I?
You just went so against the grain.
I would not want any of the three. None of the above.
Well, Tampa Bay has to make this choice between Mariota and Winston, and Paul Burmeister dropped by the man cave and explained why playing in a pro set in college is advantageous.
He had to go to the line of scrimmage after huddling up, and the defense had time to huddle up too and come after him. So he had to get up to the line, see what the defense was doing from a blitz standpoint, know where his hot was, know what his protection was supposed to do, and then execute that play. And when you run a hurry-up spread in the way that Oregon did, a defense can't get together and come after you the way it wants to come after you. Mariota didn't have to get to the line of scrimmage and see different kinds of blitzes and get his protection going the right way and drop back 5 steps and get rid of it. He didn't have to do that. He might be able to, but they don't know if he can because he didn't have to do it that much at Oregon. And there's all the questions about Winston, and plenty of them legit, but you can watch him at the line of scrimmage do what he's supposed to do as an NFL quarterback. He did that in college, and he did it pretty well.
That was really good. I mean, Paul knows quarterbacks, although he did when he guest hosted. He told us a story about his brief stint in Vikings camp when, after about 8 practices, Brian Billick pointed out how he blew up the entire offense on a goal line play. So it's interesting. Burmeister might have said, well, you know, these guys are both better than I was. But it is good because he's such a good dude. You forget, this was a big-time quarterback.
Yeah, he was a very good college quarterback. But all I kept thinking up there when I'm watching Paul Burmeister, I didn't listen to a word he just said. He'd be the worst next-door neighbor in the world. And when I mean that is because he's better than you. He looks good for an older gentleman. He's probably in his 40s. He's in great shape. He dresses well. He seems incredibly polite. He's probably a fantastic father and runs around with his kids.
Helping women carry their groceries up the stairs.
And then when you guys are sitting around the weekend, hey, where'd you go to college? Well, I played football at Iowa. Is that where you, when you said where went to college?
You're like, ah, come on.
He's the worst. And I got a cool job, but Burmeister is the next door neighbor. Too cool.
When he shovels his front walk, like there's no ice. You know, you get the ice patches. He's got it done before 7 a.m. and your wife is like, what? Right. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You still haven't shoveled yet?
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like one day Burmeister's going to come out, just one day he's going to come out with a bathrobe half open and a bottle of Jack in his thing.
Oh, well, we can always hope.
Unshaven, and then he'll go back to being the nice guy.
We can always hope.
I think he's got that in him once every 6 months.
That'd be great.
Well, Burmeister was not done breaking down quarterbacks today because he took you guys aside and had a little mini quarterback football day with you.
Everybody hold the ball up here. We see if he, no, hold up the, there we go. See, you got to start here. He's got a little bit of space in there. See, you got a little daylight there?
Yeah, that's good, right?
That's where you got to start. It was a good-looking ball. It was a good spiral. Let me see that. However, it was a little bit, if you gave yourself a chance to do more of that, come back a little bit, you can have more. Like you swing on a golf club, you start it here. Ooh. If you come back here a little bit, you can start up in there.
Come back.
That was a little better.
All right, let's
Pretty
see
good.
Fritzy.
Yeah.
Bring some cheese. All righty.
Ah!
Little cheese.
What just fell?
That's right. Paul, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, right.
I got some
Patting yourself on the back. That's why.
Is that what it is?
What do you think, Paulie?
I'll tell you, you know, you don't want to listen to yourself on the radio. That doesn't bother me as much as watching myself do any physical exercise or athletic event. I look like I tried to drop my arm back, and my arm went back like 1 inch. I'm so unflexible and unathletic looking. I know I'm unathletic, I have no doubt, but I look even more unathletic than I am, which is hard to do.
Well, one good thing is you didn't have Fritzy right after you. So I go to pick up my ball. All of a sudden I hear another ball whiz by me, dude. And then something. What fell? What was that?
I still don't know what fell.
Plastic.
Yeah. Could you wait for a guy to get out before you
I
throw?
should have let you get out of the way. But this.
And where were you?
Over.
Why did you embarrass yourself with the rest of us?
Some of us were actually working, guys.
It's true.
You did look very busy.
You appear to be busy.
Yeah, Seton, you did sit that round out. Which one of your fellow Danettes looks the most pro-ready?
Ah, man, I'm going to say Paulie. Paul's the only one who actually threw it with a little bit of oomph behind it, where you're like, all right, he's trying to complete a pass. The rest were sort of more like, sort of. That was the sound effect I imagined.
I've never felt better than what you just said.
He was at least looking like, and if he wasn't going to throw it, he's going to tuck it and run it. So I felt like we could actually get some positive yardage with Paul.
Great.
That's good. See, Paulie, you tear yourself down. Seton built you right back up. Okay, please stay tuned.
I needed it.
Urban Meyer opens up about a former player of his. This is the box score, and it is powered by the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Every truck can climb a hill, every truck can haul a trailer, every truck can tow a boat. But not everybody has the most fuel-efficient half-ton truck on the road. Get more facts. Ramtrucks.com. Guts. Glory. Ram. Welcome back to the box score. Paulie, you had the coach of the Ohio State on, Urban Meyer, and he used to coach Aaron Hernandez back when he was at Florida. Now, you know Dan had to ask the question about Hernandez's conviction. What response did you think you were going to get?
Well, I think normally if most interviewers asked Urban Meyer a question, they'd probably get very little or something very bland and cautious about Aaron Hernandez. Dan and Urban have developed quite a nice relationship over the past 5 years where I think Urban Meyer likes being pushed a little bit or likes a little bit of a fun back and forth. Occasionally, like we started the entire interview with, how's your golf game? How is Nick Saban golf? We didn't go, hey, coach, how do you feel about Aaron Hernandez going to jail for life? That would have been the bad way to go about it. And so I think Dan will sometimes ask Urban Meyer, last movie you've been to, or what are you listening to in the car today? He'll have some fun first and then get to the serious angle. So we got a lot more than I expected.
Well, certainly, and thankfully, Coach Meyer didn't shy away from the topic and gave a solid take on his players' current problems.
Just worried about, I kept hearing about people back home, and I, and I look hindsight, that he went and played pro football somewhere near home. I guess is what I'm research or conversations I've had. That's kind of what happened.
But Coach Belichick contacted you before the draft, right? That he was thinking of taking
sure.
Aaron, and so you had to sign off on him to Coach Belichick.
Yeah, he was a guy that was, a lot of people were asking about first-round talent, second-round talent, and he went later in the draft. I can't remember what round. And he's a guy that had a very incentive-based contract early in his career in pro football, and I'm not sure what happened after that. But he was a guy that, obviously Coach Belichick's a friend of mine, very honest, and said just need to keep an eye on him. And unfortunately, you can't lock them up, and keep them away from their homeboys. I guess that's what happened.
It's a hell of a quote there from Coach Meyer. Yeah, and it could have been, I don't know if it would have been the easier way out to just say, like, no, I had no idea. It seemed like a good kid. And, I had him rooming with Timmy and all of that stuff. But, he seemed to give a pretty honest answer there and saying, like, yeah, you got to keep an eye on him. But what are you going to do? At the end of the day, he's a grown man. He's an adult. He's going to do what he's going to do. I mean, you can say you have to move away from your friends and all the people who are going to cause you trouble, but you could just find new friends to get in trouble with.
And he could have given a very short, I watched a little bit of it. It's just a sad thing. It's it's one of my former players. It's, as he started saying, and then he could have just left it at that and gave some kind of verbal cue to Dan, like, that he doesn't want to elaborate or talk about Aaron Hernandez at all. So that was, I thought that was pretty cool that he was willing to open up like that.
McLovin, how much pressure is on coaches to stand by their players who go through legal problems?
Depends how good the player is,
how old they are.
and how much, how many years does the coach have left on his contract. It's all convenient morality, which is funny. So, a guy is, we were talking today, we were all laughing at the fact that Shane Ray, you can't take him in the first round now, but man, what a great value in the third round. Some team is like, yes, this guy got busted on pot, we're going to get a great bargain here. So, I mean, the funny thing is, too, I don't think, we had a poll today. Do you have a problem with your team taking Shane Ray, who was cited for marijuana? Fans don't care. They do not care. They don't care about marijuana.
Well, it's not their money being invested now.
They don't really care about, they don't care about a lot of this stuff. The media makes a bigger deal out of off-field stuff than fans. They just want to watch games.
If I have a football team, though, I don't care if Shane Ray does whatever off the field, only if it doesn't let him play on Sunday. If it doesn't let him play on Sunday, I don't care if it's him going to church group or him smoking weed. If he's going to his kids' play and can't be at the practice, I have a problem with just that, just as much as I guess the vice or whatever keeps him off the field or injury is what bothers you. That's the only thing.
But then again, so many guys get busted in college and they're just fine in the NFL. Some are not. Some are, some people are Josh Gordon. Other people are Justin Houston, who had reports of drug, and he had 22 sacks last year.
Well, okay. Coming up, we are going to play a little Know Your Row. That's next. Welcome back to the box score. Yesterday we asked the guys their favorite character in the movie Goodfellas. Today it is Pulp Fiction. Who is their favorite character? We shall find that out as we play.
No! Your!
All right, I gotta go with this. Oh.
Starting with the back row, McLovin, what is Fritzy's favorite Pulp Fiction character?
Fritzy is actually an outstanding dancer. So I'm going to say...
Has Fritzy seen Pulp Fiction in its entirety?
Yeah, no,
I have, but
at
least I don't have the lines memorized.
Well, I was going to say the dancing, John Travolta's character, and also he probably knows only John Travolta was in the movie. Probably can't. Maybe Sam Jackson.
Do we have a rule, Brock, that you have to know the character's name that you're saying is your favorite character? Did you say John Travolta?
Well, I wouldn't go with that one.
Well, I like that.
I wouldn't go with that rule. If we're trying to win here, Paul, I wouldn't go with that.
You just said it, though.
Yeah, I know, but I think it is John Travolta, Vincent Vega for Fritzy.
Well, okay, was it Vinnie Barbarino?
I am going to go with Samuel L. Jackson's character because I think he was badass and I loved his hair and his demeanor, his speech before killing people. So I'm going to go the Samuel L. Jackson character.
That was shocking sweater. Shocking.
That sweatshirt just stole the Know Your Role.
Yeah, just keep showing that clip.
Who here owns the ugliest sweatshirt?
When you put it in Know Your Role and isolate the sweatshirt like that, it's really rather dramatic.
To come back from.
Yeah.
All right, to the front row. Seaton, who's Paulie's favorite character in Pulp Fiction?
Well, there's really only one choice if Paul was in his right mind when answering this question, because we've had him on recently. We're developing a relationship with him. Frank Whaley, the dude who gets shot.
Brett.
Yeah.
It's got to be him.
It's gotta be.
Oh, this is easy. Lance, the drug dealer, played by my boy, Eric Stoltz.
You know, I knew Seaton was going to guess that because I do love Frank Whaley, literally. And Frank Whaley crushed it as Brett. It was a close one. I celebrate Eric Stoltz's entire career.
Mask?
And yes, everything he does.
Yeah.
And I loved him as Lance the drug dealer.
That's
I knew
cool.
you were gonna guess that.
That's billowy. All right, one more for the back row. Fritzy, McLovin's favorite Pulp Fiction character is?
I'm going to go with the one that I guessed in my hideous NYU sweatshirt back then. I'm going to say that he's a Jules fan above all else in Pulp Fiction.
All right, it wasn't Jules.
Jules and John Travolta's character.
My favorite Pulp Fiction character has to be Eric Stoltz, the drug dealer, just because he seemed like he was really, you know, he was having a good time despite all the chaos around him, handled a very stressful situation well, and I would hope that I would respond to a guy ODing like that. It's actually a girl. I had forgotten who I chose there, but I knew with 100% certainty that Fritzy was not going to get that one. I just knew he only knew Sam Jackson and Travolta were in that movie. And I think none of us picking the wolf, Harvey Keitel's character.
Oh, that's a natural.
Yeah, I thought Paulie might go with the wolf.
Okay, first of all, the game isn't over yet, but I'm going to file a protest because we all know Todd's real favorite character was the gimp with the ball gag in his mouth. That's definitely the guy that you.
Or Zed, the cop.
Yeah, well, he's probably a big Zed guy. It's definitely all revolving.
Roseanne Arquette was in this too.
I love Roseanne Arquette.
Yeah, I could have been.
But the fact that he's never seen the movie kind of.
Well, that does put it in.
I do remember a guy with that red ball in his mouth.
Yes, of course. Last one is for the front row. Paulie, who's Seaton's favorite Pulp Fiction character?
This is tough. You know, he may go obvious to try to win the game. Steve Buscemi's character, Buddy Holly, the waiter, was off the board. You gotta love that.
You know how tough it is.
The kid who gets killed in the back of the car, Marvin, when he gets his head blown off, he was a great actor.
I gotta be honest with you, this is gonna surprise me as much as it is you. I couldn't even begin to tell you what I answered.
I'm gonna go with Bruce Willis's character, the boxer.
Buttermilk and
Was it the boxer?
Which?
Well, man, that's tough to pick because Michael Madsen's pretty much awesome, and he's in like every movie. He's also sort of the crazy killer guy that cuts off ears. I'm not really that into. You know who's awesome? Daryl Hannah in Kill Bill. So good. I would say her.
What's that?
There's almost no way I could have guessed that.
What happened there?
There's no way that Pulp Fiction was. It must have been what's your favorite Quentin Tarantino
character.
Something.
Well, knowing the person who asked the question.
How the hell would I say? I mentioned Reservoir Dogs and
Was Michael Madsen,
Kill Bill.
Was Michael Madsen in Pulp Fiction? I'm trying to think.
No, but how do I reference Kill Bill and Reservoir Dogs if we're only talking about Pulp Fiction?
That's like something I would say.
Brock, can we have another chance? Can you ask Seaton the question of who's his favorite character? I'll cover my ears.
By the way,
away,
this was obviously done when Nick Taylor was still producing, because he probably said.
He may have said
right.
something else.
Do you want to ask?
What the hell is
Didn't make
that?
any sense.
Do you want to try again?
All right,
Try
cover
again
your
what? I don't
ears
even know where I am
and
anymore.
Seaton, sort of mouth your favorite character to us, please.
Bruce Willis.
Okay, all right, we have it. We are back. Paulie, who was Seaton's favorite character in Pulp Fiction?
Now, do I change my answer because Seaton knows what my initial answer was? Butch the Boxer.
No. That's
Yes, it was absolutely Butch the Boxer.
Hey, you got it! Man, does this guy know me or what?
Who on earth has Butch the Boxer their favorite character in Pulp Fiction? That's the dumbest answer I ever heard.
The only guy who does is him.
Yeah, because he doesn't throw the fight.
Take a loss like a man.
Yeah, come on,
was like
take it on the
He's
chin.
got his awesome girlfriend who just wanted blueberry pancakes.
That was a wasted half hour of that movie, by the way.
Take it on the chin just like the Gimp. All right, the winning row is the front row.
No way.
Don't go away. It is a special preview of something we call the Danette King. This is the Boxer, and we are taking a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Its favorite character? Yeah, it's Daryl Hannah in Kill Bill, sure. Guts, glory, Ram.
We should do that on our show. 5 cameras each. You could choose to watch. So like when I'm picking something out of my teeth that I just ate during the break, you could really focus in
Well,
on.
I did want to do that initially, where you could pick the camera that you wanted to watch the show with. But then I thought, well,
Can you imagine how boring that would be just
Yeah.
watching Paul camera, Seaton camera?
yeah. But you'd have
Actually, Fritzy Cam is fascinating.
Listen face.
Yeah.
You'd probably want to look at my screen from behind me as opposed to looking at the face.
We're closing up shop here on the Box Score. A lot of these ideas being floated out there about isolated cameras for the show. I think it's time to take these ideas seriously. Now, Seaton, what might we find on your isolated camera?
Probably a lot of nose picking, a lot of face making. What else? A lot of computer watching, reading.
Bloodshot eyes.
Bloodshot eyes, yeah. A lot of mumbling to myself. I'm a big mumbler. Man, the list is endless. I've got equally as many tics as Todd does. We just don't pay attention to them ever.
It would be fun to have a mic and camera on Seaton, because Seaton reads emails during the show, before the show, after the show, and he reacts to them, not loudly, but just he's like, I can read this freaking email again. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. And
You get pissed off.
And I'm like, should I say something? Because I know he's saying it loud enough so I can hear, but I just don't overhear what he's saying kind of to his own person.
Yeah, I do. I spend a lot of time cursing people.
Why would he send me this email again? To kill him.
That might be a great camera, but we thought we'd give the fans a little look at something we call the back row cam. As you can see here, it's McLovin taking a really long sip of coffee. Then Fritzy's sort of writing a novel in his infamous notebook, maybe writing down the best parts of Emmanuel Goes to Space. Takes a little break. Looking at something else on his laptop. No blue screen just yet. Here's where it really pays off, though. Todd stands up and you get a shot of his belly, which is great. Now, I mean, Paulie, when can we see a back row feed?
Well, if it's as scintillating as that, I think we should invest many dollars into that right now. Fritzy also does his mid-show stand-and stretch, because he doesn't like to stand up and move during a show.
I feel like we almost just witnessed a stand-and stretch.
Yeah, it was a combo phone call, stand-and stretch.
Usually the stand-and stretch has...
Right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually move around the room unless it's to the bathroom and back.
That's right.
So there's a lot going on there.
All those cameras are great, but I think the Paulie front row cam is the ideal one, because you are no stranger to be caught in stuffing some goodies down your mouth. The wings, breakfast, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, is this something you can parlay into a sponsorship, maybe a food critic job?
Yeah, I think I could. Adam Richman is gone from the Man versus Food empire, and I try to eat very fast when we're in the middle of a show or before a show.
Terrible.
And that's usually pre-show eating. That's post-show wing eating. Before the box score, probably.
Yeah. Somebody zoomed in on that one.
But yeah, I'm proud of it. I try to keep my mouth closed when I eat. I feel like I do a pretty good job of it. because I don't want to offend Seton there. See, look, mouth closed whilst chewing.
I appreciate that. I do.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves because I don't want everyone seeing and hearing what I'm eating. So hopefully the camera won't be that mean to me.
All right, to the Gimp. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
We will be joined by Dan Marino,
Ball
Rob
gang.
Gronkowski, Mike Mayock, Rich Eisen, Jay Glazer, all part of the Wednesday edition packed Dan Patrick Show. Be there.
Fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen. We are back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast is available on iTunes. Bye. This has been The Box Score. I'm going this way.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow.